Now, Government of India has been hard selling the Namami Ganga project. A senior official of the Uttar Pradesh government has been caught on camera doing the unthinkable for several reasons. The additional district magistrate O.P. Srivastava was caught on camera urinating at the holy Sangam, at the Triveni, which is sacred to millions and millions of devotees. Ironically, the unholy act of revealing himself at the Sangam took place when the senior official was discussing arrangements for the annual Triveni festival. Cameras show the ADM walking up to the banks of the river and relieving himself. Despite a massive outrage after the video went viral, especially on the social media, the state government has taken no action against him so far, clearly setting a very bad precedent. The Sangam is the assembly of the Ganga, the Yamuna and the Saraswati. This holds pride of place in the Hindu culture.
स्टेज से उतरा, वहाँ गया, हाथ धोया, पैंट ठीक किया और ऊपर आ गया। मैंने ऐसा कोई काम नहीं किया क्योंकि जो गंगा और जमुना के लिए प्रत्येक भारतीय के अंदर जो भावनाएं हैं वो मेरे अंदर भी हैं। मैं उनको इनकार नहीं कर सकता। ये बिल्कुल खबर गलत चलाई जा रही है। मैं एक हिंदू हूँ और हमारी जो भावना गंगा और जमुना माँ के प्रति है वो वैसे ही हमेशा रहेगी।
Look at these pictures that have been, caught on camera. Someone has actually used a mobile phone and filmed these pictures, which our reporter down in Allahabad has gotten access to. They show, O.P. Srivastava, this additional district magistrate, a senior official, apparently relieving himself on the banks of the Yamuna. This is the Triveni Sangam, the holy confluence of three rivers. And you've got this official, absolutely brazenly relieving himself right there. The irony in these pictures is that this was right after an event to discuss with the media the arrangements that were being made for the Triveni Mahotsav in Allahabad, which is something that's thronged by thousands of people from across the country. B, that you've got the Swachh Bharat campaign, which sees a lot of focus even in Allahabad, especially around the Triveni Sangam. But most importantly, O.P. Srivastava, the additional district magistrate, is not in any apparent trouble. He's, an inquiry has been ordered. We hear from the state government that they're looking into these pictures to test the veracity. But I think these pictures pretty much speak for themselves. He is apparently relieving himself right there on the banks of what is one of the most holy sites in the country. Taken in conjunction with the Swachh Bharat impulse that's there across the country, or at least is supposed to be pushed at least by people like those in power, district magistrates, governments under whom the scheme is supposed to be rolled out and seen to be successful. You've got this man apparently relieving himself right there. The interesting thing is no action has been taken against him by the state government so far. We're expecting that action will be taken against him, but these images have gone viral, not just in India, but all across the world, and I think there's good reason why they've gone viral. It's so ironic. It happened right after an event where arrangements for the Triveni Mahotsav were taking place. Swachh Bharat even got a mention, at this particular event where, several top officials in Allahabad were talking about the arrangements that have been made so that, things were clean and efficient at this Mahotsav. And what happened right after it? You have this man apparently relieving himself right there on the banks of the Triveni Sangam.
We call this river our mother, Ma Ganga. This river that flows from Gomukh to Ganga Sagar, 2,525 kilometers across 5 states. There are 13 million people who get their livelihood directly from this river. And this is what this man is doing, O.P. Srivastava. But is this just symptomatic of a larger problem? Call us at 0120-480-7310. I want to hear from you. We have a panel of experts who join us on the broadcast. I have Jyoti Malhotra, a senior editor. She joins me on the show. Also with me on the show is Vimlendu Jha. He's the founder of Swecha. Rahul Ishwar. He's an author, he's a social activist, tells us more about our religion, our culture, what this means for our river. And Dilip Cherian, image guru, will tell us what this means for India's image. And to begin with, Dilip Cherian, I want to start with you. What does this mean for India's image when we talk of Namami Ganga at one level, we talk of Swachh Bharat at another level, And here you have a government officer doing what he is.
Well, actually, it's great for India's image because this shows that there is a huge consciousness across the country, both among social media as well as people, about the fact that we are making an effort at an unprecedented scale to try and make a country that is known for its uncleanliness into a cleanly country. And I think this is a in some senses this has become a morality tale because of the fact that everybody is conscious and we recognize that those in power have a bigger role to play in ensuring that message down to the last person.
But Jyoti, is it just restricted to television ads or campaigns or print campaigns? It's not percolating down. I mean, look at this man. He's a government officer and he's wearing a clean Ganga t-shirt where he relieves himself in the river, on the banks of the river.
But Gaurav, why are you so surprised? I mean, I'm actually surprised that you are this outraged. I think Indian men have very, very little self-control. They have completely no restraint. You find them peeing all over. If you walk the streets of Delhi or if you're driving down, you see Indian men just sort of step on the side, unzip their pants and do their job. And by the way, you don't see Indian women doing that. So I'm just wondering, what is it about Indian men who feel like just sort of peeing wherever they want to, including in the Ganga? But here is another question to you, which is that if they were not peeing in the holy Ganga, and that is absolutely reprehensible, as you just pointed out, but if they were peeing on the streets of Allahabad or of Delhi or Kanpur or elsewhere, would that be as condemnable? I think it is. And I think this lack of self-control, this lack of self-restraint is something that's really obnoxious.
Lack of self-control or shortage of toilets, Vimlendu Jha. Your opinion on this? Because for a moment I want to also cut across and listen in. I want to listen in to O.P. Srivastava once again. Now he says he picked up the water of the river and he washed his hands. But is that what he's doing? Let's listen in to O.P. Srivastava.
स्टेज से उतरा, वहाँ गया, हाथ धोया, पैन ठीक किया और ऊपर आ गया। मैंने ऐसा कोई काम नहीं किया क्योंकि जो गंगा और जमुना के लिए प्रत्येक भारतीय के अंदर जो भावनाएं हैं वो मेरे अंदर भी हैं। मैं उनको इनकार नहीं कर सकता। ये बिल्कुल खबर गलत चलाई जा रही है। मैं एक हिंदू हूँ और हमारी जो भावना गंगा और जमुना माँ के प्रति है वो वैसे ही है, हमेशा रहेगी। और मैंने ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया। मैं इस बात का बिल्कुल खंडन करता हूँ, गलत चीज़।
Gopal Trivedi is one of our callers. He joins us on the broadcast. Mr. Trivedi, tell us what comes to your mind when you look at these pictures, when you hear of Namami Ganga, when you hear of Swachh Bharat and you see these pictures?
See, I expect the Ganga to be clean for all times to come. But persons like this, whether it is Mr. Srivastava or someone else, they keep on polluting the rivers. But for this, my suggestion will be, even at the river banks also, please set up Sulabh Sauchalay, so that persons like Mr. Srivastava, he is not the only one who is caught. There will be millions and millions doing the same thing all over India. They can utilize the Sulabh Sauchalay by paying 1 rupee or 50 paisa, so that rivers like Ganga and any other river all over India is not polluted at all. And second thing is, please teach them that pollution doesn't solve. And if you want to give them the punishment, make them drink the same water. And
okay, fair point. Perhaps they should do Shramdan and clean up the banks. They should join, they should clean up that river. That should be, you have a fair point that you're making there. Vimlendu Jha, is this symptomatic of a larger problem? I mean, we talk about one man. We are outraged by one government official who's wearing a clean Ganga t-shirt and easing himself in the river. But statistics are alarming. 7,300 million liters of sewage discharged into the river every day in Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand and Bengal, sir. Mr. Vimlendu Jha, can you hear me? Okay, we'll try and reestablish that line with him in just a moment. But Rahul Ishwar, as someone who believes, like millions and millions of others in this country, that this is a holy river, Ma Ganga, she looks after people, millions of people from Gomukh to Ganga Sagar, somewhere down the line, everyone who even lives on the banks of the river has failed in their duty in looking after Ma Ganga, as we say.
Very true. We should be honest in admitting that. Even though, we all have the highest of regards for Ma Ganga, many a times we have failed in our duty. And what O.P. Srivastava did is has really offended millions of people like me. Is very condemnable. But at the same point of time, we should also focus on building more toilets, creating a positive awareness, an actionable awareness, rather than mere TV advertisements, rather than mere sloganeering. We should create an actual change in people's mindset. That's the reason. There's a deep mindset issue, as one of the persons earlier said.
Yes.
Men especially, I'm proud to be a man, but men especially feel too free that the whole road and the whole street are there.
Yes.
This is a wrong attitude that's perpetuated. We should call out the bluff. We should point out to the mistakes, and we should make people realize that they are polluting the holy river. And why is Ganga holy? It is holy because it is, it is giving livelihood to millions and millions of people. That's the reason why, from the earlier point of time, it's considered sacred. So it is affected to bhakti, it is affected to environment, it is connected to ecology. We should see the issue in a totality and create such discussions so that there is actionable change in our society.
Which doesn't appear to be happening, or is it happening and we are not noticing this? Prabhat Bansal is another viewer of ours who's calling us. Prabhat, go on, your views on this. Mr. Bansal, can you hear me? Jyoti, the issue of changing that mindset, how does that change in the mindset come?
Well, I think mindsets and change, we talk about families and the impact that families have on children. But I think the Ganga, which is a holy river, all of us in India know that the Ganga is a holy river. We know the importance of the river. But today's being incident, I hope, will spark of a national debate. This government has been trying for the last year and a half through the Namami Ganga campaign to initiate these winds of change, if you like, and that's been a very, very welcome initiative on the part of the Modi government. But I hope that today's incident will spark of a much greater national debate, a much bigger debate, and talk about the filth in the Ganga, as you pointed out, from Gomukh to Ganga Sagar.
Daulat Adnani joins us from Mumbai. Go ahead, Daulat Adnani, have your say.
Yeah, it's surprising. Mr. Srivastava is so obviously lying. क्या वो पानी में हाथ धोकर गीले हाथों से पैंट ठीक कर रहे थे?
जी.
It is so surprising, so obviously, blatantly lying. He should be locked in a room. Let him urinate there. Let him defecate there and stay in that room for a few days. And then you know what dirt is.
And how will that change come? How do you change for the positive? Because these pictures outrage you, they outrage me, they outrage our viewers. And Jyoti, the bigger picture, also Dilip Cherian, 7,300 million liters of sewage every day in River Ganga. So because we are looking at these pictures, because he's been caught on camera, we're outraged. But that bigger picture, somewhere down the line, we're not looking at it.
I'm glad you mentioned the quantum of waste that is put into the Ganga. The fact is that we are going after the small fish as usual. The real offenders are the municipalities of cities right along the Ganga who are spewing sewage untreated into the river. We should really be going after the big fish. And unless these municipalities can be forced to change the way they handle their waste, you will have an unclean Ganga and unclean every other river in India for a long time to come. That is the frightening thing. We've made our air toxic, now we are turning our rivers toxic. And this is going to be the death of millions of people right in front of our eyes.
And there is another aspect to this. Rahul Ishwar, when we talk about religion, when we talk about cremating bodies on the banks of River Ganga, there are many studies that seem to indicate, one, that also causes pollution. Two, several half-burnt bodies, animal carcasses, they're just thrown into the river. That just adds to the pollution in the river. Electric crematoriums, not very popular. Is that the road ahead? How do you educate people that cremating bodies, we may have been doing it for generations and generations, perhaps is not the best way forward on the banks of the river?
Very true. I'm a proud believer. I speak for communities and religious philosophies. But having said that, our spiritual leaders, our religious gurus, Shankaracharyas, they should all sit down together. And if need be, we need also have religious reforms in these manners. It's a very sensitive topic. It's a very touchy topic. People would like to cremate the bodies there. I understand. Having said that, if the spiritual gurus of this land can sit together with the help of the mainstream media, if there are some customs or acharas that is harmful for Ganga, it is time we evolve into better acharas. It is time we evolve into better customs. These customs and rituals, if it is contaminating, polluting the river or polluting Ma Ganga or hurting Ma Ganga's cause, it is time that we modify, we rectify, we evolve according to time and bring in more evolution to the customs and rituals so that customs and rituals can stay, along with that river can be clean. And we can also think about scientific process like bio-remedification, where we can clean Ganga using the modern technology and the different process using it.
Industrial discharge, if we were to talk about that, Mr. Vimlendu Jha, you know, the picture of this bureaucrat, of Mr. O.P. Srivastava, that's only symptomatic of a larger malaise that we're talking about. 5 states, millions of liters of sewage that's discharged into the river. Also industrial discharge, 764 polluting industries on the banks of the river, Mr. Jha. Before I connect to Mr. Jha once again, Vijay is our caller who's with us from Delhi. Vijay, your views on what you see on your television screen?
I just want to say that Srivastava is being unnecessarily, you can say, chased by media. It is not about polluting by peeing or these all small contribution which we all do, but definitely the issue is about the chemical and commercial use of chemicals which are polluted, you can say waste, which is being thrown into river in place of being treated well in some treatment plant or so. Just imagine what will happen if everything doesn't go into Ganga or any river for that matter.
Yes.
What will happen? It will be accumulated somewhere. And this water which we are drinking, it is not fresh water. It has been there being used and recycled and again recycled by nature millions of times.
No, but the cleaning of the Ganga river, I agree with you that this may be symptomatic of a larger malaise. Vimlendu Jha, if you can hear me, sir, this is just symptomatic of a larger malaise. Give us the magnitude of the crisis, the magnitude of the task ahead and the road ahead, sir. विमलेंदु झा जी, मेरी आवाज आप तक पहुंच रही है? Shivam joins us from Chennai. We will try and fix that audio link with Mr. Jha in just a moment. But Shivam, your take on these pictures and the problem?
Gaurav, actually I was a little bit, just stop showing this repeated this one. Okay, it is a little bit after only. But more than this, we have to first you say, if around half a kilometer of this where the person is standing, if any toilet is available, the government is provided. If he is not used the toilet and if he is going there, you punish him.
Yes.
And there is so much area like in cities, in stations like Chennai or even Delhi or everywhere, you just come out of the air just in the walls and near the side.
But that's the change. That's the change, Shivam. That's the change we are hoping to bring. That's the change we are hoping to bring. That's the point that Jyoti Malhotra was just making on the broadcast, that men just come out and start easing themselves anywhere. That needs to stop. And for this, Dilip Cherian, should then the government start penalizing such people? build more toilets, because that's also a part of the problem. But as Jyoti said, that, women don't ease themselves everywhere the way men do. Is it time to start penalizing men?
I think that Jyoti's point is extremely valid on the behavior patterns of Indian men. But I think that as far as the river is concerned, if you're really serious about Swachh Bharat, we should go after the wholesale polluters of the Ganga.
Yes.
The city municipalities, the villages, and also the industries which are on the banks of the river.
Yes.
This is where the biggest volume of pollution is coming from. We can pillory a government official and make an example of him. We can have police on the river banks trying to find people, but I think this will just lead to more corruption. I think we should focus on the big picture, otherwise this country will choke on its own filth.
Okay. Now, Alok Sinha is a former senior bureaucrat who joins us from Lucknow. And Mr. Sinha, the question we were trying to put to Mr. Jha, we couldn't get across to him. There's an issue with the phone line. 764 industrial units that are polluting on the banks of the river. Dilip Cherin made that point. That needs to be sorted out before people like O.P. Srivastav are sorted out. What's the way ahead?
First of all, to depollute the Ganga and any other river is going to take a long time. But that does not mean that till the river is depolluted, government officers can pee in the public. I think Mr. O.P. Srivastav has made himself infamous for 3 reasons. First of all, he's been caught with his pants down.
Yes.
And for a senior officer to be caught with his pants down in a public place, whether it is Ganga or on a public road, is bad enough. It is a very bad symbol of how an officer is treating the issue of public cleanliness.
And wearing a clean Ganga t-shirt.
Yes, and secondly, Mr. Srivastav has made himself infamous because, there is a saying, to discourage people from peeing in the public, you write on the walls, "Dekho, gadha peshab kar raha hai."
Right.
He has made himself the object of ridicule. Thirdly, he has made himself infamous because I feel sorry for his children, if he has any children. Tomorrow, whether they go to school or college, they would be the butt of jokes that their papa, who is such a senior officer, is peeing in the public.
Yes.
Finally, it also speaks volumes for, I don't want to generalize, but it speaks volumes for a bureaucrat thinking that he can pee anywhere and get away with it. So therefore, I don't know under which departmental proceedings the government will take action against him. I think the safest thing to do, the best thing, the cleanest thing to do is to transfer him overnight. I don't think he will have the face to face the public anymore.
Okay, that's one part. That's the immediate. Yes, that's symptomatic of the malaise, O.P. Srivastav. But look at the bigger picture, the attitude. How do we bring about the change in attitude? Is step 1 start having more toilets in public places so that people would go to those toilets, even if you have to pay, you pay and ease yourself instead of going out in the open? That should be the top focus.
Absolutely, but it doesn't mean that till you have enough toilets, you can go around peeing in the public. What I'm trying to say is that if an example is made of a senior bureaucrat who's peeing in the public, it would send a very good symbolic signal to everyone that you got to clean up the country.
I have Dr. Anand who's calling us from Chennai with his views on this. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Rahul. Actually, what I'd like to say is, basically, this bureaucrat doing it, he should be transferred. I'd rather he's left to live in the same vicinity and so that his neighbors make him feel ashamed every day when he steps out of his house. Because he's created something for himself for the next 10 years or till posterity at least. And similarly, all these industrial units which are polluting the Ganges, I always keep saying, because I'm a dermatologist basically. So what happens is the water gets polluted. Little do the pollution control board officials realize the damage they're doing. keeping both eyes closed or one eye closed, right?
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
They should go hammer
Absolutely.
and tongs.
There's ecology. There is the question of ecology. There is also the question of religious sensitivities that are not being addressed. Anandita is calling us from Delhi. Anandita, your take on this?
Hi, I just wanted to ask one question. That is, this government official who is, we can see he's just peeing in the river Ganges, which is supposedly the holy river. So we've been constantly seeing our government talking about Swachh Bharat and nationalism and Bharat Mata. So I just wanted to ask that why isn't this person being arrested right away?
Yes.
Or why isn't this person right away taken into police custody? Because just because he is within the, he belongs to one of the rulers,
Yes.
doesn't mean that he can just get away with anything. So what pertains to the ideology of nationalism then? And with respect to what is happening in JNU right now versus anti-nationalism. So is this really nationalistic, what he is doing? Peeing on river Ganges, which is the holy, which is kind of a sanctum of holiness.
Oh, it is 2,525
right.
kilometers of this river. Spot on there, Anandita. Is roping in corporates, as is being done in some bits, and also the army, as is being done in some bits of this river, is that the road ahead, Dilip Cherian?
I'm quite confused now listening to some of the voices, because there is one part which is to use this as an example to trigger change.
Yes.
The second part is to make sure that men recognize the fact that they are probably, as individuals, contributors to this. But I don't think that that's going to change things. What you need to have, for example, is some of our Digital India initiatives should actually throw up the location of toilets close by to every public place, so that people know that they have an option.
Yes.
Here, I have no idea why this officer did this, and he certainly should not have, and he needs to be made
an example of
in this public castigation. But other than that, I think that the real problem is that we need to sort out this problem by having adequate toilets,
Yes.
by making it accessible to people, and making sure that people's behavior pattern is changed.
Mr. Sinha, Alok Sinha, that's the road ahead. One, create awareness, and two, as is being done, rope in the armies, environmental brigades in some places, environmental battalions in some places, rope in the corporates to pick up chunks and clean up, some stretches of the river.
Well, that is true, but to build enough toilets for public use, you do not need a big action plan. All you need is a willpower and
Yes.
some money to be budgeted for such a thing to happen. The fact that an ADM felt no unease in easing himself in public, it means that even people within the system think that there won't be any toilets in the public, and therefore we can go anywhere that we feel like. In fact, in a way, in a very ridiculous way, this ADM
Yes.
has driven JNU out of the headlines by doing a very ridiculous thing. But I agree with Dilip, we should make use of this as an example to clean up our psyche and to clean up the system.
To clean up the psyche, to clean up the system, to bring about that change. Namami Ganga shouldn't just be restricted to a slogan. Efforts should show on ground. And Rahul, somewhere down the line, right from Gomukh to Ganga Sagar, there are places of religious importance at every step. At Rishikesh, at Haridwar, at Allahabad, all the way up to Ganga Sagar. And somewhere down the line, religion again can play a very important role in sensitizing people.
Exactly. I totally agree with that point. There is a need for cleaning up the psyche, the mind of our people. I think if you can take the help of spiritual gurus in this, if you can take the help of other community organizations, charity organizations, if a section of CSR activities can be shifted for this, and cleaning up Ganga is very important.
Yes.
First, we have to clean our mindset. Then only
Yes.
Ganga will be clean. Otherwise, the corporate industrial waste and people's wastage and these things will be keeping on flowing to Ganga. So first, clean our perception, clean our mindset. then clean Ganga. Then Ganga will remain pure forever.
Perhaps that is how change will come. Rahul Ishwar, Vimlendu Jha, Dilip Cherian and Mr. Alok Sinha, many thanks for joining me here on that debate on what's the best way forward. Clean the mindset, change the mindset, and then aspire to change the river. A quick break. The Pampore operations, 2 terrorists have now been killed in this ongoing encounter. I want to quickly bring in India Today's Shujaul Haq for more on this.